Here's some super encouraging news, and this is from Julie in London. Julie was watching today with Marilyn and Sarah and experiencing excruciating back pain. Mom and I started the program praying for people with back and knee problems, and as we prayed, Julie touched her back and her knees and believed that she would be healed, and the next morning the pain was completely gone. I love that. I love that God answers prayers in so many fantastic ways, and you may be watching right now and you may be having back problems. Oh my goodness, I love to pray for back problems. One of the first places I ever prayed for back problems, I remember this was in Bulgaria, and there was a lady there. She had I want to say like 4 or 6 different back surgeries and couldn't straighten up. She was having tremendous pain in her back. The doctors hadn't helped her. In fact, it had been worse and worse and worse. And we prayed. It was a big audience. We prayed, and for the first time in like 2 or 4 years, she could straighten up and bend her back with no pain, and she could move. She was completely healed. So I want to encourage you, why don't you get on the phone, call right now, or get on our website and say, pray for me. I need help with my back. We want to pray. Ooh, we like to pray. We see God do incredible things, especially with back issues, for me, for sure. So get on the phone, and remember this. If you have any need in your life, we love to pray for you. So hop on the phone, give us the honor, the privilege, get on the website and say, whatever the need is, we want to pray for you. And you know, we're going to be joining a teaching that I've been working on, and God's been marinating in my heart for, a couple weeks. And I've been thinking about this in relation to provision. I recently went through a season in my life, probably still in it a little bit, where I need God's provisions. I need His provisions in my life. And you may relate to this. Oftentimes we think, well, I need more money. God, if I had more money, and I think that way, if I had more money, think of all the babies in Angola I could feed. Ooh, man, with Saving Moses, I could do this and this and this. If I had more money, God, I could open up how many more night cares in Cambodia. I just dream visions of how I could help people if I had more money. And so oftentimes we think money is the answer. And I believe that God has answers for us beyond just money. You may be watching right now and you may think, well, I thought I needed more money to pay my bills. I thought I needed more money to get out of debt. I thought I needed more money for my health care. I thought I needed more money to fix the things in my house. I thought I needed more money. And oftentimes we think money is the answer. If I had money, I could get better clothes, and some guy would think I was cute and he would marry me. We do all kinds of crazy things in our mind, and we oftentimes think money is the answer. Money is the provision. But I want to tell you today that money isn't always the answer. Sometimes God has provisions for us to the needs in our life, and provisions that aren't just money. Let me give you an example. Recently, Mom did a fantastic, amazing, just absolutely outrageous healing meeting in Pakistan. And it was interesting because I get to be behind the scenes and kind of see all of the work that goes into it, and I'm aware of the budgets, what's it going to cost us, and the logistics, the security. I see all those things, and I'm aware of those things. And so we were talking about this event before it happened, and she has tremendous passion, love. We love Muslims, Muslims love us, and we've been to Pakistan many times over the course of 16 years or so, lots and lots of times, and we love Pakistan. I mean, we love getting to go, love the people. They're just absolutely magnificent. And I know this has been in their heart for a long time. And so I looked at our budget for this event, and we just didn't have the finances. We had some, but not near what we've had in the past. And I know this was big on Mom's heart. She wanted to do it. Let's go do something really big. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. But I'm thinking, we don't have the money, So we had kind of set aside a certain amount of money to do this event, because you just don't go over there and on, a promise and your good looks, they're going to open these doors up for you. I mean, you have to put some money down for advertising, for buses, to train the leaders that we do there. So we had a limited amount of money, and I remember talking with my friend who's doing the boots on the ground, implementing all of this. And before he left, he said to me, Sarah, in the past we've had twice as much budget, and you're asking me to give you twice as many results with half of the budget. And I said, yes, that's exactly what I'm asking you to do. And he said, that's crazy. I said, I know. I totally agree. It is absolutely crazy. But I believe that God can do miracles. And he said, I believe it too. I totally believe it, but I'm just letting you know these are the numbers, and this is the reality that I'm looking at. I said, well, this is the reality that we have. We have limited finances, so let's go and do what we can with what we've got and trust God to do whatever He's going to do, to be God. And so sure enough, and I love how God works. I mean, completely does way beyond all that we ask or think. The event was very successful. This event for Mom was the largest ever she's ever done in Pakistan. She had the most favorite, had the biggest amount of advertising and press and media exposure that she's ever had. She probably had just as many miracles, twice as many miracles as she's ever had before. She was safe. She had favor with political leaders. She met with many political leaders, even the governor of the province where she was ministering. Lots and lots of people heard about Jesus, gave their hearts to Jesus. I mean, we saw amazing things and crowds that were significantly, almost double what we've ever had in the past, all on half of the budget. It was a tremendous, tremendous miracle. And it was God's provision. The miracle was God's provision, not just the money. And I say that to encourage you that God has miracles for you as well. And you may be watching today and saying, I don't know about that. And I want to encourage you that even Jesus' followers sometimes had some questions. The guys who walked day by day, His disciples that were with Him moment by moment and saw Him do all these incredible miracles, even they had some doubts. And if you flip over to Luke chapter 9, verses 12 through 17, this is the story where the disciples came to Jesus, and Jesus had been ministering to this crowd. And what happened was, at the end of the day, there was a huge crowd, well over 5,000 people there. And at the end of the day, they'd been there all day long listening to Jesus. He'd done healings and miracles, all this stuff. But at the end of the day, the disciples came to Jesus and they said, look, this is a kind of a remote place. You need to dismiss the crowd so they can go off into these little villages around the place and find something to eat, because we don't have food for all these people. And so many times in our lives, I think we're the same way. We say, God, I don't know how you're going to do this, so we come up with our own plans, our own ideas, our own agenda, our own strategy, because we got to do something, we got to fix something. And maybe you're watching today and you've tried to fix a problem, you've tried to solve an issue, you've tried to figure out, strategize, well, what can I do to fix this? And I want to encourage you, maybe all of your efforts haven't been fruitful, haven't done anything, haven't helped. In fact, maybe they made them worse. If that's you, I want to encourage you to get on the phone, call right now, or get on the website, because we know that God can absolutely take your best efforts and go way beyond that. And I was thinking about this. I was thinking, here are these 12 disciples. They've got a crowd of several thousand people in front of them, a crowd that hasn't eaten probably maybe all day long, certainly some of them. And their solution is dismiss the crowd so they can go into the villages and find something to eat. And I was thinking about this. In the world that we live in, dismiss the crowd, everybody can hit, be that Taco Bell, McDonald's, fast food, whatever. You say, well, I don't eat that, whatever. Go to the grocery store. I mean, food is relatively accessible. But back in Jesus' era, they didn't have, so to speak, accessible food. And at the end of the day, women had already finished up their shopping, and they didn't have grocery stores. And the bakeries probably had already disseminated, spread all their bread everywhere. And so you're at the end of the day, and you're telling this crowd to go out into these villages and try and scavenge, round up some food, several thousand people. This is not a good strategy. This is not a good plan. This is not a viable solution. And even at their best, they think, well, what could we come up with? Well, this is the best that we can come up with. And even our best that we give to Christ, He looks at it and says, it's not enough, it's not adequate. But yet I want to tell you that He has miracles and He has answers. And you may be watching right now and you say, well, I need God's provision in my job. I need God's provision with my health. I need God's provision on a family situation. I need God's provision. I'm struggling with depression. Or maybe you've had ongoing generational family curses that just seem to perpetuate. You're like, I just want to get out of this, Maybe there's divorce in your family. I want to encourage you that so many times we try and solve our own problems, and God is just waiting for the opportunity for us to invite Him in, to say, look, I don't know what to do, but my eyes are on you, God. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know how to solve this. I don't know what the answer is, but I know that you have the answer. And I want to encourage you today that you get on the phone, call right now, get on the website. We want to pray for you. And if you're at your wit's end, you say, well, I've tried everything. I've tried, all of this stuff, over here and over here and over. I want to encourage you that give Jesus a chance to come in and really make a message out of the mess. So many times we try and fix something and it just makes it worse. It makes it even more messy. Makes it even more of a difficulty, more of a challenge, more of a hardship. It just magnifies the struggle. But I want to encourage you that when we invite Jesus to come into the mess, that He converts it, redeems it, and turns it into a tremendous victory, a tremendous message. And that's exactly what He wants to do in your life. So get on the phone, get on the website, let us know how we can pray for you, because I know this, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that God has provision for you. Provision, it can be money. It can be in a miracle, which we're going to see here in just a little bit. God has provision for you in a wisdom area. God has lots and lots of different ways that He provides for us, but we want to pray for you. So get on the phone, get on the website. Let us have the privilege and the honor of praying for you. But when we come to this next segment here, I'm so excited. Just like I told you the testimony of Mom with the miracles that we saw in Pakistan and the overwhelming, amazing things that God did there. God is going to show you in this next part of the teaching how He does miracles that will go way beyond your wildest dreams. So I want you to put your remote control down. This is not the time to change the channel. I know the temptation. Set it down, because the Holy Spirit wants to speak to you about the miracles that He has for you on the other side of this difficulty, on the other side of this hardship. He has miracles of provision for you.
You need to go to Johannesburg, South Africa with Sarah and me for the most blessed time of your life to minister. It will be so awesome, and you can get your brochure today. Is that right?
That's right. Call or get on the website for the information. And we have an additional opportunity,
Yes.
Mom, for an excursion to Cape Town to see a safari, as well as Robben's Island, where Nelson Mandela was. Absolutely amazing things that are in Cape Town. That's an additional excursion. But the primary thing we want to encourage you with here is our ministry opportunities in Johannesburg. We're going to be ministering at nighttime, as well as a Saving Moses opportunity. This is a life-changing trip, and you don't want to miss out. Mom, how can they come?
They can come and get the brochure, but you could also scholarship someone to go. And a group of you could get together and scholarship your pastor and totally bless him and change his life. We want to hear from you today.
We've been talking about the provisions that God has for us, and the provisions that God has in so many different ways. Oftentimes we think, well, if I just had enough money, then I could do all these things, or I could fix this, or, And so many times we look at, and we try and solve the need with our way of thinking. And God says, I can provide for you to fix that need in lots of different ways. Lots of different ways. In fact, this was interesting. I heard this testimony last night. A friend of mine, he's a youth pastor, so on a little bit of a tight, limited budget, he had recently bought a truck, an older truck, and he was trying to get repairs done on it. he went to his repair guy, trusted repair guy. The repair guy said, well, it's going to cost you about $500. And so my friend, he's praying, fervently, God, please let this guy come down in his price, let him find that he didn't have to do all the work, let's just get a break on the price, God, something to get a break on the price. And it's interesting because 2 or 3 weeks later, somebody just walked up to him randomly and gave him like a $500 check. And God said, see, I can answer your prayer. You're asking this way to answer it, and I can answer it over here in a different way. And that's true for all of us. So many times, I think we get a little narrow. God, I need you to answer this way. Here's the need, so fix it like this. And you may be watching right now saying, oh, I've done that. Oh, I didn't realize I was trying to limit God in the way he answers the prayer rather than just giving him the freedom to answer however he wants. So get on the phone. We want to pray for you that God would meet the needs in your life, or get on the website. We like to pray for you. And, we've been talking about, and I love this story about the disciples when they come to Jesus and they say there's a crowd of 5,000 people. They've been with you all day. They're tired. Dismiss them so they can go get food in the villages. And we know, oh my goodness, more than 5,000 people heading out to these little tiny villages at the end of the day. There's not going to be a lot of food running around for them to eat. And so this is not a good solution. And I think sometimes if we're not careful, our solutions to God are significantly worse, make the problems even worse than what the original issue is. And so I want to encourage you that God has better answers oftentimes than our ideas, than our plans and our strategies. You say, what do you mean by that? Well, when the disciples came to Jesus, they said to him, dismiss the crowds. And Jesus said to them, no, you feed them. What do you have? They're like, what do you mean us feed them? And they scrounged around and they found 5 loaves of bread. So we got a couple little pieces of bread here to just give you, a little visual. 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. I didn't want to bring the fish because truthfully it would smell in here. And you wouldn't smell it, but I would. So we'll just use our imaginations on the fish. But here's the situation. 5 loaves of bread, 2 fish to feed a crowd of more than 5,000 people. Now, how on earth is that going to do anything? And so many times, I think we think that. God, I have so little. How could it do anything? How could it be of any impact? How could it be of any usage to you? God, it doesn't even seem to make a crack in the need. And yet, that's exactly what they had, and that's what they brought to Jesus. And Jesus says, great, we can use this. And God always starts with something. He looks at your life, and you may come to him and say, I need, and we all have different needs. Whether you need a husband, or you need a job, you need healing in your body. Sometimes you need healing with your emotions. You're depressed, you're discouraged. Sometimes you need healing from past issues and traumas in the past. You need wisdom on your kids or your grandkids. All kinds of needs in our life. And we come to God with these needs, and God often says back to us, well, what do you have? Because God always starts with something. He starts with something, and based on what we give him, that whatever it is, whether it's 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, or whether it's the lady in the Old Testament who had a little jar of oil, who came to Elisha and said, hey, I'm about ready to starve to death here. Bad things are going on. Whatever the little things are, what do you have? Well, I don't have much, but I've got this. And God says, great, whatever you have is what I'll use. I'll start with that, and we'll go from there. Now, I want you to put yourself in the disciples' shoes, because I've thought about this miracle on lots of different levels. I've thought about it, maybe from Jesus' perspective, but I also thought about it from the disciples' perspective, because that's basically what I am, probably what you are as well. And when you think about this as a disciple, a follower of Christ, this is what Jesus does. He takes the bread, takes the fish, he blesses it, and then he gives it to his disciples. Now, there's 12 of them, right? 12 disciples. So how is he going to take 5 loaves of bread? He's going to break up the bread and hand it over. He's going to break up the fish, 2 fish, divided among 12 men. So he's got to come up, from those 2 fish, he's got to come up with, if you will, 6 pieces, thinking about it. 5 loaves, he's going to break each loaf in half, and one maybe a little bit more than half to give it out, so each of them have a little piece that they can start spreading out this food. And don't you think... And maybe the food multiplied when Jesus broke it. Maybe it multiplied when he prayed over it. I don't know when it multiplied, but we do know that it multiplied, because the disciples went out, and maybe it multiplied in the disciples' hands as they were passing it out. If Jesus broke the bread and handed Peter, you and me, handed him a piece and said, here, take this and this little piece of fish, I want you to go and feed those people. What? Thousands of people, you want me to feed them? This is an insult. This wouldn't even feed me. Maybe that's how it happened. Or maybe Jesus said, prayed, multiplied, and went boom. Suddenly there's all this massive amount of food. And they're like, and their eyes bug out of their head. And now they get to take all of this and spread it out to everybody out there. I don't know how Jesus did the miracle, but I do know that he did the miracle. But what was also, I believe, equally powerful about this miracle isn't just that he multiplied the bread and multiplied the fish. But one of the things I love the most about this miracle is that he used his followers to spread it out. He used his followers to spread the miracle. That's you and me. When we follow Christ, he uses our lives to spread out his miracles. And what I find, and I love this about God, the miracles that he's done in my life, oftentimes, most of the time, are not just for my benefit, but also have huge benefits for the people around me. It's the ripple effect. And so when God says, you come to God and you say, well, I have a need. And God says, great, I have a miracle. But we need to understand that the miracle isn't just about us. The miracle spreads and reaches people all over the place. People that we touch on a daily basis, people, family in our lives, people that we work with, people in our school place, in our school classrooms, that the miracles, God uses us to spread his miracles. And I want to encourage you today that if you need a miracle in your life, we would love to pray for you. Get on the phone, get on the website, pray for me that God would give me a miracle. Maybe you want to list the area where you'd like a miracle. You need a miracle in your finances, need a miracle. You just need a miracle with wisdom. You need a miracle in your body with health. Whatever it is, we love to pray and we see God do miracles. And that's part of his provision plan. He uses all kinds of ways to provide for us, whether it's through miracles, whether it's through wisdom, whether it's through finances, whether it's through timely supply. God uses all kinds of ways to meet the needs, provisions in our life. And interestingly enough, as these disciples went out and they multiplied, and God multiplied the fish and the bread, and they started to spread it out, more than 5,000 people. Do you know how much food that is? If you've ever worked in a cafeteria, you've ever fed people, and there's 5,000 men, not including women and children. That's a boatload of appetite. That's a boatload of food. And the disciples, they go out and they spread out all this food. And then this is what I love. This just completely takes my breath away. It says that they came back, and when they picked up all the leftovers, they came back with more food, basically, than what they left with. They returned with 12 basketfuls of bread and fish. And remember, when they started out, all they had was 5 loaves, 2 fish. And after they collected everything, don't you know that as they hauled that all out there, whether it was in mass or whether it was one piece at a time, the miracle happened in front of them. And then the miracle is they came back and said, oh my goodness, we still have leftovers. We have way more that we're bringing back than what we ever carried out. And I just encourage you that God's miracles continue to have ripple effect, and they grow and they expand. And as we continue to walk out our faith, walk out the miracle, you'll see God's miracles continue and absolutely even be multiplied beyond your wildest dreams. If you have a need in your life, please get on the phone. We want to pray for you. We want to see God's miracles activated in your life, not only for your benefit, but for the people around you. And as you walk that out, to see those miracles be multiplied. So get on the phone, get on the website. We want to pray for you, for God to meet the needs in your life.
We all need miracles, and I want to share a miracle of a car with you that happened to me some years ago and has absolutely stimulated my faith to believe for cars for others. My husband sowed a $1,000 seed when we just had a very small church, and we were saving that money for a car for ourselves because our car was a wreck. So he felt led to sow it, and it frightened me, honestly. But, you know, what could I say? He did it. And he said to me, Marilyn, don't worry. He said, God told me to do that. He will provide us a car. And so several months later, somebody borrowed the old car we had and wrecked it. So we have no car, no money, but we have faith in Jesus. And within like a month, John Osteen came to our church. We didn't know him. And he looked at my husband and he said, I see the letter C-A-R over your head. Do you need a car? And listen to this. My husband said, well, kind of. Hey, we're desperate. We have people picking us up to take us to church, and we're the pastors. But he received an offering that morning, and God gave us a beautiful car. Now, let me tell you, from that time on, I've had miracle cars over and over. But I love to pray for cars for other people, because when you have faith for something, then it overflows. It has a great ripple effect. So I've prayed for people for cars all over the world, third world countries, all kinds of places, and I've seen miracle provisions because He is our Jehovah Jireh. He sees ahead, and He has a provision for us. So I want you to believe today for a special miracle for your own life. I know that every one of you watching me needs some special provisions. Maybe a car, maybe a house, maybe finances, maybe a job. But I have found that there is provision for your vision. And Sarah and I have put this together with special teaching for the provision God has for your vision, your special need. And then we also have put a booklet in here called Provision for Your Vision, that you can speak the promises for your need every day and listen. So what are you doing? You're seeing, you're speaking, and you're hearing. And what does that do to you? It builds your faith. And everyone sending a gift of any size this month, we want you to have this. Really, to me, this is a must for you. And now you're going to watch exactly how to get it, but don't put it off. This is your day to have a breakthrough.
You can experience provision for your vision. This eye-opening resource contains 2 breakthrough teachings as well as a 22-page booklet filled with faith-building nuggets of wisdom. It's our special thank you when you sow a seed gift of any size to help keep this kind of transformative teaching coming to you and others. And if you can share a seed gift of $77 or more, we want to rush you our Financial Breakthrough Bundle, filled with some of the most powerful prosperity teaching we've ever produced. The Financial Breakthrough Bundle includes Provision for Your Vision, plus Millionaire Faith, Soul Prosperity, Faith for Your Finances, Secrets of the Seed, and the combination CD booklet set, Seed Secrets. Call or click right now to share a gift and receive these life-transforming teachings. Get the Financial Breakthrough Bundle and get ready to step into your place as a child of the King.